Good morning. Welcome to the forecast discussion for April 8th, 2016. It's a Friday morning. We have a lot to talk about today. Of course, we have the Mets opening day. Looks like it's going to be pretty good weather out there. An isolated shower is possible, but not all that much really to be expected. Today, we're going to combine premium and public videos. I'm going to show you where I get some of my data for some of you guys who follow just on YouTube. And I'm going to break down this ridiculous notion that it's going to accumulate. That it's going to accumulating snow on the coastal plain. Now look, if you're in higher elevations, let's say around the Poconos, yeah, you could see 1 or 2 inches of snow on the grass. I know, it's April. An inch is too much when it's April, but you are in higher elevations and it is a reasonable possibility. But the coast, I've seen some silly snow maps out there because of model generation. Ignore that. Burn it. Throw it away. It is the lazy man's approach to forecasting for snow. It is used by people who don't want to spend the time to actually look at the levels of the atmosphere and think for a second and say, it's April. During the middle of the day. Higher sun angle. It's in the 40s in the MOS guidance. Yeah, let me put out 5 inches of snow and scare the heck out of everyone and call it a snow metalopolis or whatever. Beautiful. So, we're going to dive into this and break everything down and combine the two discussions I normally do. So, all you public guys kind of see what I do for premium membership. So, win-win, right? So for this morning, we have temperatures in the lower to mid 30s over the higher interior. You got upper 30s to lower 40s along the coast, but a nice southwesterly to westerly wind around 5 to 15 miles per hour. Today, it's going to be actually pretty nice out there. You're going to have temperatures rebounding rather nicely into the lower to mid 50s. And at this time of year, we should be in the lower to mid 60s. So clearly still we're below normal for this time of year, but I'll take the dry weather, right? So at the very least, we're going to watch out for a few isolated showers here and there, but that is about it. For the most part, if you're going to the Mets game, bring a jacket with you, especially with winds coming off of the Long Island Sound at times. But overall, expect a dry day, and since we're celebrating the National League Championship, really, who cares about the temperatures as long as it's game time, right? Time to play some baseball. And welcome to Phillies to Citi Field as well. So it's going to be a pleasant day today. When we take a look at the surface map, we have our storm from yesterday that's lifting up into the Canadian Maritimes. We have these little weak pulses moving through the region. It's going to produce an isolated shower here or there, but not all that much really to worry about. For the most part, most locations will have scattered cloud cover. This is the little low pressure system that we're going to be watching, because this is going to be heading right through the Great Lakes and towards the New Jersey coast by tomorrow morning, and it will rapidly intensify by the time we get to tomorrow afternoon. Why? I'll show you in a few minutes. So here is our infrared satellite picture. Again, here's our low pressure system. I want to kind of make this really clear. Right now, it's not all that impressive. Look, I mean, the lifting here, the light blues here means it's light lifting. See this strong lifting right here? That is more indicative of a strong storm. So right now we have a very weak storm here in the northern plains, and it looks rather benign, right? On the radar you can see, for the most part, watch out for a few of those isolated showers I was talking about, but other than that, here's our storm that is heading towards the northern Mid-Atlantic. And I use the word storm very loosely here. So what are we dealing with in this pattern, in this evolution? Well, let me pull up one thing. I should have pulled this up. Here we go, 500 millibar Vort. Now, I get this data from a wonderful website called Storm Vista Weather Models. Excellent weather guidance that you could use, and you find all sorts of really cool information on it and model data. Now, here is the evolution of this storm. This is 500 millibars. You see this little kink right here? What happens is that this little disturbance intensifies as it's diving towards the northern Mid-Atlantic tonight. And as it does so, it rapidly becomes a negatively tilted trough because we have some energy diving down the backside here. And then it starts to interact with a very warm Atlantic Ocean. So you start to develop a thermal gradient, You have some tilting of the 500 millibar trough. You got strong lifting off the coast. Everything pointing to a rapidly intensifying low pressure system. And there is our closed low that develops. And the process of this closed low leads to a stretching in the atmosphere. So let's see if we can zoom in here on this. We'll go into the northeast. And when this happens, this formation of this upper level low, it stretches the atmosphere. You can see it really nicely. And you could almost make out at 500 millibars the support for an inverted trough. So we have the lifting capability clearly for heavy precipitation. No doubt about that, right? But notice happening during the middle of the day. And that right there is a key factor. If this was happening at midnight, I'd be far more concerned about the potential for accumulating snowfall. But it's not. You see, when we take a look at the model data of this storm, and the peak of this storm is pretty much in the afternoon, okay? Now, notice this right here. You see this? This is pretty strong DBZ, which means we have heavy precipitation. But notice a couple of interesting things with it. It's kind of becoming more comma-shaped, and it's moving rapidly, right? So what's really happening here in this evolution? Well, what's happening is that the low pressure system is rapidly intensifying. And while it's doing so, the atmosphere at 850 millibars is becoming colder and colder. But the surface temperatures at this same time period, well, they're not exactly cold. Why? Because it's April, in the middle of the day, with sunshine. Key factors. And the sun's getting stronger. A lot of people say, well, it's like the fall. Not exactly. The sun's becoming weaker, the angle's getting lower, the days are getting shorter, and also your boundary layer is gradually becoming cooler. In this event, everything's reversed. The boundary layer is getting warmer, the sun angle is getting higher, it's getting stronger, more of an influence. So with that being the case, you have temperatures on the model guidance here. You can go to any model guidance, by the way, and basically at the height of this storm, temperatures are in the upper 30s to lower 40s along the coast. Now in your highest interiors, you're at the mid 30s, marginal. So that would support dusting to maybe 2 inches of snow on your cold surfaces, not much on the pavement. So you have a marginal environment here, but what's interesting is that with the very cold air aloft and temperatures at the surface, you end up with an environment here where you have very strong lifting and convective precipitation. So here's how I see this playing out. This low pressure system is going to rapidly intensify. It's going to basically bomb off the New Jersey coast, but it's going to move quickly, and it's going to happen during the middle of the day. So look for heavy rainfall mixing with snow at times on the coast throughout the afternoon. Temperatures in the 40s. It's going to feel raw. It's going to feel ugly. No accumulation. Might hear some sleet. Wouldn't be surprised to hear some thunder, especially in some of these yellow patches and the orange patches here. And it's going to be a rather ugly day to travel. I would not be traveling on Saturday with the visibility probably below 2 miles. It's just going to be an ugly day. If you are in the Poconos, if you are above, I'm going to say 500 feet. Let's play it safe. Above 500 feet, you have a good chance of seeing some of that rain changing over to snow for a short period of time, especially when the precipitation gets heavy and some of that cold air aloft gets mixed down. You get down to that 34, 35 degrees. That is when you could see some snow accumulation and a coating to 2 inches of snow at most. There are some guys that it goes up to 3 inches in some cases. I know the National Weather Service has that area out there, out in northeastern and east central Pennsylvania, and the potential is pretty much right here. Okay, right in this pocket right here. Now notice the surface temperatures are still above freezing, just enough, and it's during the middle of the day. So a lot of this is not going to stick on the ground, and you're going to be dealing with rain mixing in as well. But if you are hell-bent on seeing snow accumulation, you'd want to go to eastern Pennsylvania, especially east central Pennsylvania. Okay, right around this area right here. That's where you have the potential to see snow accumulation. Everyone else, this is rain, a little bit of wet snow mixed in, and just a raw, ugly day. This whole thing clears out by the evening, and if you are going to the Mets game, expect a delay in the game, but they'll probably play it because it's Major League Baseball, and they'll play it no matter what. I went to a game once where it rained for 4 hours, and they played at 11 o'clock. So they'll play through this, trust me. And then for the rest of the day on Sunday, it's actually rather nice. It dries out. Temperatures are a bit chilly in the upper 40s to lower 50s for highs. Oh yeah, and your hard freeze is going to be an issue. Watch out for black ice on Sunday morning. But for the most part, Sunday will be a major improvement. And I got some good news for some of you guys who are dying to get some spring weather. The stratosphere is changing. It's still warm. It's cooling off just a bit. But notice the stratospheric temperatures are the warmest temperatures are starting to focus more towards portions of Eurasia, especially around Japan. Notice that high right there. And that means that your lower 500 millibar heights are going to be focused more towards Asia, and we are going to enter more of a zonal pattern, probably about mid-month on through May. So definitely some good news there. We're seeing that also in the heights here at 700 millibars. It's seeing that trough starting to develop here at 70 millibars, and you get that kind of zonal pattern start to develop over the United States. So clearly relief is on the way. So let's dive into our forecast here. Okay, so for this afternoon, watch out for an isolated shower. Highs in the lower to mid 50s. Otherwise, look for scattered cloud cover. For tonight, clouds will increase. Rain and snow enters the region tomorrow morning. If you're in the interior, it will probably be a mix of rain and snow, changing over to snow, mixing back and forth throughout the day. No accumulation on the coast. A dusting, a coating to 2 inches over the interior, mostly on cold surfaces. If you want to, throw out some salt just to be safe. It's not the end of the world. It's not a major storm. Look for lows in the mid to upper 30s, highs in the lower to mid 40s. By the time the evening comes along, that low pressure system is exiting. For Sunday, high pressure is in control, with lows in the mid to upper 20s, highs in the upper 40s to lower 50s. For the rest of the forecast, look for a warm front to approach on Monday with showers in the afternoon and evening, lows in the upper 30s, highs in the upper 50s to lower 60s. On Tuesday, look for a cold front to follow with scattered showers, lows in the mid 40s to upper 40s, highs in the mid 50s. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday will feature, and Friday for that matter, will feature high pressure in control. So let me repeat that. High pressure and control for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Sorry about that. Look for temperatures on Wednesday in the upper 30s for lows, mid to upper 50s for highs. On Thursday, upper 30s to lower 40s for lows, mid to upper 50s for highs. And on Friday, upper 30s to lower 40s for lows and mid to upper 50s for highs. Staying slightly below normal, we should again be in the lower 40s for lows and lower 60s for highs, but I'll certainly take that over mid 40s. So that's your whole premium and public discussion for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you understand what we're dealing with on Saturday. It's going to be a nasty day, there's no doubt about that, but this is no snowstorm, and it's nothing to make a big deal about, that is for sure. So definitely just use some caution. Stay home, watch a movie, relax, be with your loved ones, go to the mall, whatever. But certainly isn't a good day to be outdoors, that is for sure, on Saturday. Thank you for following NYNJPA Weather, and as always, stay safe out there.